Everyone, Christian here, and making yet another video. You can tell when these videos were filmed because of the shirt that I'm wearing. I think for the other ones I was wearing like a collared shirt with these sort of distressed stripes on it. Anyway, this is like kind of this another day that I'm doing it. I'm going to talk about a garden that I'm very familiar with, and I'll give you my personal review on, and that's going to be Marie Selby Botanical Gardens in Sarasota, which is only about 15 miles, not even, maybe 15 miles from Venice, and that's where I've lived most of my time in Florida. So Marie Selby, or it's better known as just Selby or Selby Gardens, is was once, I believe, the residence of Marie Selby. It was probably a winter residence, and it was eventually donated to the city. It's just south of downtown Sarasota. I mean, literally, you can walk across the street and the high rises. When I say high rises, I mean like 15, 20 floors. We're not talking about New York City here. But you have this nice, lush garden right across the street from basically downtown Sarasota. And so my first experiences at Selby were, some of the first I had had at any botanical garden, because I think it was the first real non-profit public open to the public garden that I went to when I moved down here in 2004. And when I moved down here, like, I was kind of like blown away because they had species that I had never heard of or had ever seen, and they had decent sized ones, or they just had stuff that was new to me, and I found it quite amazing. And I sold some plants that they would have like a twice a year or three times a year sale, and they started to acquire some palms in mid to late 2000s. They purchased some stuff from the East Coast, and they started to build up their plant inventory. And they're kind of known for having like really rare orchids and nice glass house, which actually house a mature Phoenicoforium borg which I believe I have done a video on. It's one palm that looks quite a bit different as a mature plant than it does as a seedling. It has an orange outline on it, and within the frond, it's usually an undivided frond, like just a solid broadleaf. But when it gets larger, it kind of loses a lot of that color, but it still has that tropical, paddle leaf look to it. Anyway, that's not there anymore. One thing that a lot of botanical gardens do is they'll grow a plant in a glass house or a conservatory until it can't survive, like it's too tall or just the root system's becoming too big, and they'll just kind of cut it out. Sometimes they won't even bother asking anyone if they want it or want to, unearth it. They'll just kind of chainsaw it and dig up the roots and make room for the next plant. And it's unfortunate. I'm not saying that's what happened to it. I'm pretty sure it is, though. So they have like I said, a really cool glass house, nice orchids. I found them interesting, and I'm not really into orchids. It's a long story, just not really. I think that they look nice, but as far as like growing them, it's just not really my thing. I like more structural stuff. So as the years went on, there was someone that took a job there, and that person actually used to work the job that I took in Miami, and essentially collections of any sort of plants sort of stopped, at least in the outside garden. I mean, there was some stuff that would be smaller things that would kind of come and go, but as far as like establishing an accession, or accessions I should say, for the garden, just stopped, and what was there is what was there. And they even mentioned that they were not going to collect anymore. I talked with a good friend of mine about this not too long ago. He was willing to donate a lot of habitat collected species of palms from Central Asia, and they just weren't interested. And you realize that over the years that these nonprofit gardens are, they're not for profit, but at the same time they have a lot of donors. Now, if you go on Selby Gardens website, you will see that if you want to support them, you can donate money, and there are donations, and it shows like different levels, and they give a name to it, and what you're given. So if you're looking for like a tax write-off, you know, they'll allow you to donate as much money as you want, but you know, they have like a high level donation. It's like 25 or 50,000 and up, and they'll call you like a founder, so you get this title for a tax write-off. And some people genuinely want to support the garden. I think the best way to support a garden like that is to actually volunteer, and I believe that volunteering at a public botanical garden is one of the best ways to learn about plants, not just palms, but like all types of tropical plants. I mean, obviously, if you're in a temperate area, volunteering at a temperate garden will help you out with those as well. But you're basically getting kind of an apprenticeship with someone that has an established, you know, or has experience, you know, in the field, and they are usually very happy to show you because they're in a field that is not competitive. Like, you're not trying to take their job. You just want to learn more. So you know, just like working underneath like a chef that you might open a restaurant and compete with him. So anyway, they have just really become a wedding venue. There's really no way to describe Selby than like a really nice wedding venue. It is surrounded by water on three sides. There's sort of like a canal on the southeastern side, and it wraps around to the north. So only like the northeastern side is really connected to the mainland, and it is very nice. You know, the views, and I mean, you can get them for free elsewhere. The plant collection, as far as palms go, and some of the other things that are sort of related to palms, I find to be, they could be much nicer. You know, they call themselves a botanical garden. They really kind of have to hold up to that name and continuously acquire new things, or at least, you know, go towards some path of some sort of educational area, something, you know, because plants are newly discovered. You kind of want to change in some of the scenery, and you want to see things grow up and mature, and it really is kind of just like I said, they really are more concerned about making money as a nonprofit, and it's kind of sad. They haven't publicly come out and said they don't want to acquire new plants, but they have privately come out and said that. And it really is sad to see that. Sarasota is a very wealthy city, and they could spend the money to go and do those sorts of things. And I've seen the social events that occur there, and for the average person watching this video, like, they're not interested in having someone like us go there, ask questions about plants, you know, that, you know, offer things, offer help. And it's really kind of sad. I know someone that lives out on one of the barrier islands, and they were a long time helper of the garden, both financially and, you know, just working with plants, and they just kind of been completely turned off by it. I mean, we're talking 50 years of help. And so I don't know what to say about that. You know, when you come out as a botanical garden, but yet you don't want to really interest the people, but you do want to interest the people who have given you, you know, donated money to you. It's really just a social club. It's kind of like a public country club. And so I haven't been there and like in the garden, and I couldn't tell you when, 7 or 8 years at least. I just haven't had any interest. There's nothing really rare there. A lot of the plants that are grown there that aren't grown in the proper conditions, and they do okay. They're not like malnourished, but they'll have sun-loving plants growing in shade, and they'll put some shade-loving plants in full sun. And when you see, for example, like a Chamberonia, or now it's Chamberonia, and it's like, you know, skinny, and it's just not growing very well because it's in like super deep shade but not being given the right nutrition. It's just, you know, I'd rather go to a friend's place and look at a much nicer. I can go a mile down this road and look at nicer palms, and I don't have to drive to downtown Sarasota. So, you know, would I recommend Selby Botanical Gardens? No, I wouldn't at all. I'd give them a rating plant-wise. I mean, like, overall, their plants maybe like a 5.5. But as far as, like, you know, going there for the palm aspect, it's like one of the few gardens I wouldn't really recommend at all. Like, maybe, I don't know, 2.5 out of 10. and especially for the price of $25 for admission. And they're very strict about it. So if they're having an event, but that you also want to visit the garden during an event, they're going to charge you $25 anyway. My friend's last experience, at least, was that. So, be wary of other ways that they do acquire money. But if you like orchids and other, broadleaf, real tropical stuff, it might be more for you. But it is a nice area. I'd rather just wander around the outskirts of the garden and kind of see downtown and the water. You're better off doing that. So anyway, that's my honest review of Selby Botanical Gardens in Sarasota. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you're new to the channel and want to see more content like this, not only give it a thumbs up if you enjoy it, hit the bell notification. You'll see more videos like this and videos of me out in the field eventually. I'm going to get back out there. Obviously, I'm been very busy, and these videos are what I can do right now. So I will see everyone at a later point. Thanks for watching.